The purpose of this short video is to provide an overview and introduction to the Pyramid Model Implementation Guide for child care centers participating in Pyramid Model Implementation cohorts sponsored by the Connecticut Office of Early Childhood. The guide is intended to be used both by program coaches supporting implementation, as well as for administrators to have a roadmap for what Pyramid Model implementation looks like. We developed this guide in response to feedback we received from both coaches and programs that more structure and guidance were needed regarding implementation activities. And while the pyramid model is intentionally flexible, we're hopeful that this guide will support more consistency in how the model is being implemented across programs. We also hope that coaches and programs will feel more supported in their implementation through the structure of the guide. I first want to point out that the table of contents is clickable. So if you click on any topic in the table of contents, it will take you straight to that page. And so if I click on this adding classroom coaching, it takes me right to the section on classroom coaching. For program directors, I encourage you to at least review this first page of the guide, which will give a very big picture overview of what pyramid model implementation will look like. You can also click on each of these links right here in the middle of the page, which will take you to summary tables at the end of each section. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about those summary tables here in just a minute. In this first section, starting on page 5, here towards the bottom of page 5, you'll find a checklist of initial activities. This is really the place for coaches and programs to get started as you're initiating pyramid model implementation. You'll see on the left side of the table is a task or activity, and on the right side are any notes that would be helpful, as well as any documents that will support that activity. In terms of organization, excuse me, the guide is broken down into categories of activities. So I'm going to scroll back up here to the table of contents. There's initiating pyramid model efforts, the program leadership team, and initial training, adding classroom coaching, and that includes both adding internal capacity for classroom coaching as well as adding classroom coaching with an external coach, adding the BRRRRs, and maintaining pyramid model implementation. Here again, within each section, you'll find a table that explains what programs receive from the program coach, what programs are committing to in order to implement these activities effectively, what the required data are to be collected, and short PIDS tutorials for anything that needs to be entered into PIDS. So this is the example from the first section, initiating pyramid model efforts, the program leadership team, and initial training. So these first activities are sort of what the programs will receive from their external coach. This next section lists the things that the program will need to commit to in order to facilitate effective engagement in the activities in this section. This next section is the required data that are to be collected, as well as a section on optional data. You know, if these pieces of data are already being collected in the program, we want that to continue. And then here, some short PIDS tutorials for any of the data that we're asking to be completed in PIDS. Throughout the guide, you'll see a computer icon, and this is just a reminder of pieces from this section that would need to be entered into PIDS. And so here, I'm still in the example of activities under classroom coaching. And so if there's an internal coach who completes PBC training, that data needs to be entered into PIDS. If there's an internal coach that completes TPOT or Tippy Toes Observer training, that needs to go into PIDS. Any TPOTs or Tippy Toes that are conducted would need to go into PIDS, and classroom coaching logs for each time that a coach is meeting with a teacher for classroom coaching. And so again, this is just a reminder for all of the things that need to be entered into PIDS. Throughout the guide, you'll also find resources that are specific to the activities of that section. And so here at the end of this section on adding classroom coaching, there's a resource section on pyramid model practices in the classroom, as well as some resources around pyramid model classroom coaching. Some resources don't necessarily fit neatly within sort of a category of activities. And so we also have some resources that are located at the end of the guide. I'm going to scroll us to the end of the guide here. These additional resources. So we have resources that will take you to information about PSF groups, as well as pyramid model and family engagement, the elimination of suspension, expulsion, and exclusionary discipline practices, pyramid model program coaching, and using data to support pyramid model implementation. Here at the end, finishing the guide, is a glossary of terms. This guide and all of the documents that are linked in it are located in the shared Google folder that's titled Implementation Guide and Supporting Documents. If you have any trouble accessing either the guide or the documents, please reach out to us at PIEC at UConn.edu. We anticipate that the guide will be a living document, and we welcome feedback on topics that are missing, any activities or issues that are unclear, resources that you would like to see added to it, etc. So if there's anything that you would like to share about the guide, please don't hesitate to let us know. Thank you so much for watching this walkthrough of the Pyramid Model Implementation Guide, and please don't hesitate to reach out if there are any questions that we can answer.